Thank you. I apologize for the delay. Computer things are not my forte. So thank you, John, for getting this up. Again, I am Barbara LaRue with the Public Arts Committee. To my left is Bob Buckley, and to his left is Mike Wick, and John Sachs, who's the founder of the Sculpture Park, is also here tonight. So we have some options for you to consider for placement of the sculptures, which will have to happen sometime this summer, as that's, my understanding is when construction at the police station will start, probably early September. So this first option, we're calling it the east side. I think this was one that was recommended by Member Espaillo. And you can see it's that corner of the common where the dog and the red heart sculpture already are located. And these are approximate locations for all of these. When it comes to specific locations, we would go out with Recreation and find the exact spots to make sure that they work for them. So this is the east side option.
That was actually Larry Warfield.
Oh, it was?
Mine
Oh, okay.
was similar. Mine was similar, but I didn't have placements, and his green section's a little bigger than mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. Oh, sorry to
Okay.
interrupt, but I'm
Okay.
getting a little confused about what's up there and what we have in our backup. It's a little different. So I did not see that as an option in our backup. So
I don't know where the backup came from.
that's not the same as what we just saw.
Correct. Oh, okay. No, okay, I thought it was.
I don't know what you're looking at.
That's all the ones that were submitted. So we were looking at the one that has like the green outline. It's more spread out. It's
Oh.
still in that area, that east side area. But I didn't get any that were sort of more,
Who gave you the backup?
Mike submitted one.
Oh,
The other
oh,
ones were submitted by you to.
okay. I guess I didn't,
Recreation.
I guess I didn't see that one. Hopefully the other ones all
okay,
match.
so that's fine. We can move on. I just was
Okay.
getting confused in that I had a very clear
understand.
idea of what I was
Well,
going in with, and this is just completely different from what I thought, what it's.
in essence, though, I think it's similar. It's this corner, this triangular corner of the common. And again, none of these placements are exact. They would all have to be worked out with Recreation once you approve the area. Okay? So this is option
Got it.
one,
Go
or
ahead. Yep,
east
go ahead.
side. And the next one would be, can you, oh, it's on, okay. This is the option that was recommended by Chair Morandi the last time we were here. We are calling this the bandstand option because it's kind of close to the bandstand. So that's this option. We'll just run through all of them. The next one is one you have not seen before. It is a version of the walk, but when we were here last, Member Tigas had expressed some concern about people crossing the street. This would keep all of the sculptures on the common, but not all over the common, and create this walk where everyone can walk on the common side and not have to cross the street. So we're calling that the Common Walk. This is one you've seen before. It's the same locations as the pigs. The next one is, sorry, I'm going too fast. That's the pigs. The next one, we're calling the Town Building Walk. And you'll see that there's an asterisk where it says rec. We have received feedback from the Recreation Department that this was their preference. And I know that will weigh heavily with you. And the last one, we're calling the Cambridge Street one, and this would be keeping them all on that quadrant of the common where they can all be viewed from Cambridge Street. The Public Arts Committee is happy with any of these options. It's up to you. Whatever you decide, we are happy to implement.
I can send this to you right now so you can see it on the screen if you'd like.
And we're happy to answer questions.
We'll start with Jim.
I'm actually on the Public Arts Committee, so I'll defer to the other members too.
Okay.
For now.
Nick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know the last time we talked about the possibility of 61 Center taking some of these. Was that considered and discussed with Rec?
That was considered The big concern was that there's a disconnect, especially when there's a construction site in the middle. It's something that I think makes a lot of sense for the future, but at this time, with construction happening, we didn't feel that it would be a strong option
Okay.
because of the construction.
Okay. I'd like to take a look at the options that John's sending us now.
Of course.
A little closer. I'm not in favor of anything that has them clustered.
Okay.
I'd rather see them spread out, to be honest.
Okay.
I know it's temporary. And I know that right now they're technically clustered. But I think that when we cluster them, we're occupying the usable space that people use.
Right.
Right, whereas when we take the perimeter approach, we're using space that is less occupied by people at any given time or any given event. So in terms of intrusion, there's much less in my mind when it comes to that.
I understand.
So I'll give those a second to come through. I just want to make a much broader statement. I think Joe and Jim will know that for the last 6 years, my time on this board, I have kind of made it a bit of a soapboxing moment to discuss the difficulty with which we have volunteers and engagement in the community. And I appreciate all of the emails and the discussion on Facebook, and I think it was all great. I just hope that the community hears me when I say I wish that we had that level of discourse for everything that we did in this community. I wish that, sculptures brought out the same level of interest as other things that we do, whether it be Shred Day or the Civic Expo or events at the library or whatever it is. I wish we were having that level of engagement always. And so this isn't directed at anybody or meant to mean anything deeper than it is. I have just been on the horse of engagement for, you know I was going to say it.
Thank you.
For 6 years. And it seems like, this is the thing everyone's got,
Right.
in their cap. So with that, I'll take a look at the slides a little closer. I think, temporarily, any of these options seem relatively viable. If rec supported the one that you're calling the town building walk,
On Common
then,
Walk,
that's fine by me. I think the important thing is that we get them moved so we can get the police station underway in terms of construction, and then get these moved back into, their places. So
May I-
I'll halt my comments there for a moment with the rest of the board.
May
weigh
I
in.
respond, Mr. Chair, just quickly? I agree with you, and I wish there was more engagement across all on all different issues around town. But it's not a mistake that there's this much engagement with the Public Arts Committee and the Sculpture Park. It has been our goal from the very beginning to engage with the public. It's why we run the programs that we run. It's why we are so involved online and with BCAT and with the Buzz. It's a concerted effort. So that's not an accident.
Well, then it's a good thing that's happening then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for coming in again on this. Apologize for my, clarification earlier. These are different than what I've seen, so I was a little taken aback. And one of the options that I was actually leaning towards was not presented tonight. So
What was that?
it was the one that had the sort of the green overlay. I don't have a printout of it, but, and it was basically version 1, east side, more spread out.
Okay, so taking up the larger part of that triangle.
Yes,
We are very open to that. And like I said, these placements
that one.
are just an approximation
Yeah,
on,
outside.
right. And that's very similar to this, only would just spread them out a little bit more.
Yes. Well, much more.
Much more.
Taking up
And
half.
we would be very happy to do that, again, in conjunction with rec, who would advise us at exactly where they should go.
Okay. So I guess my question, I don't know, for you or for the chair or for administration, do we have to have an exact plan tonight, or can we just vote that we approve of moving them in the vicinity of the common? I don't know if
It would be whatever the pleasure of the board, whether you're going to give recreation a little bit of flexibility within the green area, if that was the one that was desired by the board, or we can force that conversation and then have another vote with the exact locations
Okay.
that Brendan would prefer.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a statement on that?
Yes.
At our meetings where rec was there, we did say that we fully anticipated that rec would have to sign off on the final location of the placement. So we'd be very content with an approval subject to the locations being confirmed or selected by recreation.
Okay, so I'll just share my general opinion, and I've shared it before, that, and I feel like it's shared by the majority of the folks who we heard from in town, and I was tracking it sort of like data-wise, and it was between 80 and 85% of the people that we heard from via email or were speaking up on social media were in favor of the idea of moving these sculptures to the common, and many favored doing it permanently. So, and that's just the sense that we got and that we've received, and I don't know that that was well-known before all of this was being discussed. So it's good to see the support in the community for the arts and for this potential plan. I was at that meeting with Brendan, well, one of the meetings with Brendan, and, you know, and based on his thoughts around, you know, basically maintenance and the events, I would agree with Nick that having them more in a clustered area, especially the one by the gazebo, where a lot of their events are centralized, would be more of a disruption to him, and he even mentioned that it would be. So I think that may go to stand for many of the options that were more clustered. I'm in favor of, I would go with any of these. I think the one where it's in the east part, where it's more spread out, that's that one.
Yes.
Yes. I tend to like that. There's already pathways in the common. It keeps them all on the common. So I did have similar concerns as Member Tigas about the crossing of the street. And I also have concerns that in front of the municipal buildings is a very small space.
Yes.
I would like to see it, but
Yeah.
those two concerns make me lean more towards keeping them all in this general area. I guess my only concern was that this option wasn't on the table when Brendan was in the room at that meeting. So, like I said, it would be contingent on how rec feels. But, you know, other than that, I'm in favor of this. And I feel like it's in line with the wider majority of how the community feels. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we also wish we had all of the renderings before the meeting tonight, because we definitely didn't see a lot of those. Just want to preface my comments by saying thank you for all of your efforts, John, to the committee, for the sculpture park. I think you've done a great thing, and you've built a great thing. And my opposition to these on the common is not against the sculpture park. I think there was a wrong kind of, in a lot of the feedback I read, and I saw it, and read and responded to every email, that if we were against this, we're against arts in general. And why would you ever be against this? And I'm not. I think it's a great thing. I think I love the arts, and I love bringing these type of things to the community. It only enriches the community. It helps the community. I'm looking forward to the mobile unit that we have, and the thing we're going to talk about next, and painting the electrical box. I think they're all great things. It is just my opposition. I don't like them on the common. And I did see the emails, and it's funny, the people I talk to are against it. And I tell them 85% of the emails I got are in favor of it. And they get all, well, send us an email. And I know you can't like solicit like that, but they say, well, what's the difference now? If you have that many emails, my one email is not going to make a difference. And I heard that several times. So there is a contingent out there that would not email and is against it. And it's not against the arts. It's just against putting them on the common. I like our common. I think it's beautiful and serene, just as it is. And it's just a matter of personal preference. Again, I'm not anti-art. I'm not anti-pig. I'm not anti-mobile art. I'm not anti-finger painting. I'm just anti-sculptures on the common. And again, I love what you've done with the park and the concept of the park, honestly. And the events, they're great. You bring the kids out. I love the pictures and all of it, the engagement. It's all good stuff. I just wish it was somewhere else. And I've heard a lot of stuff, well, of people saying, well, it's just, I mean, I know it's a temporary move, but it's not going to be temporary because it's, once things happen, we never move it, and it may stay. And I'm telling everyone right now, I'm going to be around when that police station is built, and this is going to be a temporary move. January 2027, we're going to be talking about a permanent location for these, no matter what we do. And barring what happens on April 5th, if I'm lucky enough to be reelected, I will be here. So this is a temporary move. And I want to stress that to everybody. We're not going to let this one fall by the wayside. I will not let it fall by the wayside.
May I?
Absolutely.
At the subcommittee meeting that you were not at, Chair Morandi and the Recreation Director, Brendan, both said that they thought this would be a permanent move and that they would prefer that it's a permanent move. I don't want to throw a wrench in
No,
this
no, no,
because
no,
I really
that's
want
not what I
to.
said. Don't put words in my mouth. And I said, it's going to be permanent because of the way life works.
Okay.
You left that
Not-
out. I said, the way life works, it's going to be a permanent move.
Okay, I'm not
Don't
trying
put
to
words in my
misquote
mouth.
you, Joe. It was a couple of weeks ago. What I'm saying is there was discussion at that meeting that it could be permanent. We are not pushing for that.
Yep.
But it was discussed, and I got the impression, and perhaps I was mistaken, that those two leaders would prefer that we find something permanent, not necessarily this,
Yeah.
just something permanent, so that they didn't have to move again. I may have been mistaken in that impression.
Well, everything I've read and everything we've talked about has been temporary.
Yes, and that's
I'm
what
telling
we were
the
asking.
community right now, I will stick to temporary because I will be here. So
Okay.
this is temporary as long as I'm concerned, and I will bring it up in January 2027. It's already in my calendar, believe it or not, to bring it up on January 2nd, 2027. Because if I don't put anything in my calendar, I'll forget. So my opposition to this is them on the common. Again, love what we're doing with it. I suggested 61 Center. Nobody really thought that was a great idea. A lot of people I talk to think so, but nobody who's in the discussion does. We could put them all together there, have a centralized location. I don't see what construction has anything to do with 61 Center. It's not really near 61 Center, but that's just my opinion on one vote. And again, not anti-art.
Perhaps I misunderstood Member Priest's question. I was not saying the construction was a problem for 61 Center. I thought you were saying some at 61 Center and then the others in a walk that goes down by the common. Perhaps I misunderstood.
So if I may.
Yes.
Yes, my original suggestion was to split some of them up because
Right.
I had general concern around the density of the 9 new ones on the common plus the 2 that are already there. And so I was saying, oh, if we move 3 or 4 to 61, do a couple around the perimeter of the common, it alleviates, I think, in general, the concerns of people saying there's too much on the common while having some spread across the community. I'm not thinking about it in this moment as a temporary thing with the construction, as a walk, right? Trust me, I went home after that meeting and my wife was like, no, like, no one's ever gonna walk past the construction. I was like, I know, I understand that, right? The whole impetus of my suggestion was to say, to spread the art out a little bit so that people can experience it in multiple ways, right? That we'll still, taking the, using the common for the events that you host, right, during the construction, while, you know, having some sculptures up at 61 for the seniors and for the kids who are using the rec department. Like, that felt like a way to kind of spread the art out a little bit during this time. And then in 2 years, when we're ready to move them again, we had the discussion of, well, did people like that? People respond well to the idea of art spread out in a larger capacity, as opposed to clustering them, right? And saying, well, we're used to always having them in one spot, so keep them in one spot. So I was after, from a data collection standpoint, given that we have to move them regardless over 2 years. So that's the only thing there. If we move them all to 61, I mean, like, yes, they'll fit. There's no question about that. You know, but in terms of like people engaging with them, I think it's just a little bit trickier. And so that's why I was saying, don't do that. You know, I'd rather see them on the common if they had to go somewhere for the 2 years. So just to clarify.
Thank you.
What about temporarily at 61?
Right.
You know, at this point, Mike, I don't care where they go. As long as we get them moved, so we can get the police station built. Like, that's the whole point of this thing, right? Is that we have to get a police station.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment? It's not a debate. We're in agreement with you, as I think Barbara indicated, any of the locations are satisfactory. Isn't the issue that the select board is considering a temporary relocation of the sculpture park to be determined with a preference towards a plan, subject to the review of the Recreation Department as the final location of the individual sculptures, to be revisited promptly upon the completion of the police station. And that, at that time, there'll be more information as to how did people react to it, what do they want to see, is a walkway the best, and then the board will have the ability to revisit the whole issue. I mean, at least that's how I analyze it.
I'm good, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We're good. Everybody good?
Nope,
Nope.
haven't gone yet.
You haven't gone yet.
So-
That's right.
I'm in a very unique position in that I'm on the Public Arts Committee and I'm up here. So I got to try to reach a balance, all right? At our subcommittee meeting, I wasn't in favor of the walkway. You know what? That's changed. The walkway's growing on me. I looked at other sculpture parks. They have pathways and walkways. So maybe that is the way to go, but I was thinking this. Walkway, either way, we're gonna have to move some of the sculptures. So if we were to go with the option of the walkway and have the 4 smallest sculptures, the smallest that we have, across, on these dots, across from the walkway, they'd be less intrusive, but I think Mike got to the point, or maybe we all have, people think it's going to be permanent. It's going to be permanent. It's going to be permanent. Mike says he'll be here to make sure in January of 2027 it won't be. How about if this is approved, just to alleviate that fear of it being permanent, or the vocal group that thinks it's going, or believes it might become permanent, is if, say we chose that walkway one with the 4 smallest sculptures temporarily on the common and condition it to put any doubt to rest, that condition that upon completion of the police station, all sculptures will be moved to the odd side of Center Street with specific places to be determined.
Well, I honestly don't think you have to go that far.
Well, I have a concern, though, about putting the smallest sculptures on the common side. Is that what you're saying?
Only because this
Well-
is easy to move.
I know, but the reason I'm concerned is what Sarah had pointed out, is that the spaces across the street in front of the municipal buildings are smaller spaces. So now you're going to try and put our largest sculptures there, and I don't know if that will fit well. I don't know.
I was just thinking as far as moving, we're going to have to move some of these a second time in 2
Well,
years.
and you also have to remember that some of them are leaving in 2026. Some of them are leased, and they're not going to stay until January 2027, because they'll go away in the summer of 2026.
Okay. I'm just trying to, like I said, reach that balance by assuring people who aren't, who think this is going to become a permanent solution or a permanent project, that by conditioning it, that upon completion of the police station, all sculptures that are on the common will be moved to the odd side of Center Street with specific locations to be determined, to extend that walkway.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, the only problem with that, Jim, is that by putting a condition like that, you're actually suggesting it's permanent, because you're saying when it's done, you'll move the sculptures to the odd side of Center Street. So, I mean, isn't the solution just you agree upon a template, you agree upon recreation determining what makes sense from a placement standpoint, and perhaps you say that the final designation of which sculptures are going in which locations are reviewed by both the board and recreation, so that at all levels, and you can say that the temporary location to be revisited in 2 years or whatever it is,
When the project's
when
completed.
the
Yeah.
police station is done, but it would be, this is the template, the locations to be determined by recreation, because they have to maintain the grounds, and the actual sculptures in their placement, a plan designating which sculptures are going where will be submitted to the board for review. And you address, we're not arguing here, we're in agreement, you're arguing amongst each other. What we're saying is, temporary is addressed, location's addressed, maintenance addressed, and size is addressed. Size does matter here because
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
so that, my point of adding a condition was to alleviate the thought that we're going to forget about this. Like Mike said, he's going to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
And Mike's a man of his word, so I know he will, but I just thought by adding that condition might alleviate that fear that this is going to be permanent to some.
I understand, and I think it's hard for us to know what will be the best location at the end of this construction period, because it's possible some of them, or all of them, could move back to what's now the sculpture park,
Right.
because we still don't know how much of that land is going to be taken up by the police station. So I don't,
Vague saying the odd side.
right, it's very difficult. So I think I'm very comfortable with saying these are temporary, and when the police station is done, we come back and we'll have information about how the community felt about what we did temporarily, and then it'll be up to the select board again to make a decision about where they go permanently.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understand the discussion revolves around perhaps some residents feeling that if we move them there, we won't want to move them again, and that's how they become permanent. But I just want to point out that it'll never be permanent. You guys couldn't make a permanent vote. A board 5 years from now could say, move them. A board 5 years from now could say, move the gazebo if you wanted to. So we can't tie the hands of future boards in any way, shape, or form by making it permanent. Whatever select board is in office at the time will be able to determine what goes on the common. So I do understand it's more of a perception of permanency than actual reality that we've been talking about here tonight. But just to be clear, I don't think that the board could make a vote to make anything permanent in terms of what goes on the common.
Okay, thank you. All set? All set?
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick follow-up question.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Barbara, you mentioned some of the sculptures are going away in '26.
Yes.
Do you have plans to replace them in temporary location, or will they go away and we'll just be down a couple?
I don't actually have an answer to that. The way we've been operating ever since we had our first installation was that every 2 years, we change over, and the leases are for 2 years. We never contemplated at that time that this was going to happen with the police station. So I don't think we've actually made any decisions about that. I wish I could tell you. It probably would depend on how many are going away and how many are staying. So out of each installation, we generally try to find out which pieces are sort of resonate with the public, and we try to raise funds to buy 1 or 2 of them. We don't know yet which pieces are going to be the favored ones and which ones we're going to be able to afford. So it's hard to say. So if 2 went away or 3 went away, maybe we wouldn't have to replace them right away. If 5 went away, it might look a little funny. We might have to do something.
No, of course. Okay, that's fair. I appreciate that. Thank you.
But it is municipal land, so we would have to come before the board to say these are
Yes.
going to be replaced, and these are the
Right,
replacements.
same
Right.
missing process, just different location.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, everybody all set? Okay, thank you. So let me just say this. I don't want to see any other comment from everything I've heard from all the people that I've talked to. I'm just sticking up for those people. Art is art, it's subjective. Some people like stuff, some people don't. We said it the other night. Some people like baseball, some people don't like baseball. It's just the way
I can't
life
believe
works.
that, but that's,
What's that?
I can't believe that.
Oh, I can't stand baseball, so I'm one of them, but I love football. So that's part of it for me. The common has been open space for the longest time. We're putting a new sign in on the commons designed after the town hall. We're putting up a new police station designed colonial building. This has nothing to do with colonial or the times that we put the common in from the time it's been there. So the open space for me needs to stay the way it is. You want to put them on a walkway, I'm okay with that. But as far as anything else goes, we're talking about a 2-year temporary project. Truck Day is 1 day, Pride Day is 1 day, Christmas Eve is 1 night, Burlington Day is 1 day. These are going to be there for 2 years, and then we'll see what happens where they go from there. So anything on the common, I'm not going to be in favor of. You want to put a walkway in, put a walkway in. You want to put them in front of the town hall, I know they have to go someplace. This is going to be a temporary thing, but from what I've heard and what Mike said that he's told me he heard tonight, he told me about that, other people saying yes or no, it's both sides of the spectrum. It's both sides of the spectrum. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say that I'm going to vote against it for the people that don't want to see them on the common. And I never get emails, I can tell you that right now, but I've gotten mostly negative emails about this, and I don't get them. I really don't get emails. I don't know why.
Mr. Chair,
But I don't.
did you forward those to us?
Nope, I just kept them. If you want them, I can send them to you.
It would have been good to see.
Yeah,
So with that having been said,
yep,
how do you want to proceed? I mean,
that's up to
We
them.
need-
I'm the only no vote here, I believe.
I'm-
So that's up to them, whatever they decide. If it's going on the common, I'm going to say no.
okay,
That's all
so
there
I
is to it.
guess
So
maybe,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I think at this point in time, maybe you should close off discussion with the committee and have a discussion amongst yourselves in terms of whether the board can come to a conclusion on one of these options or one of the options that Barbara presented.
That's a great idea.
So we're talking about 6 acres of land, give or take, right? I think the overall impact is going to be fairly nominal for the 2 years. I would lean towards Mr. Buckley's suggestion of kind of keeping it a little bit vague, in the sense that we said that we want them moved to the common, but that we want to have a plan in place with rec to make that a done deal. I'm fine with it, Sarah, like if you said if you wanted it on as I'm looking at the map, the east side of the Bedford Center, intersection, I'm fine with that. Jim, I'm fine if we wanted to, kind of wrap them up, center. Like, either way is fine with me. I just want to get these things moved, and I think that either of those are viable for the 2 years. So, I mean, I don't know if either of you feel more strongly than the other, but.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
As a follow-up, I think if I'm, in the subcommittee meeting, was the walkway the most preferred option among the members? I'm trying to recall. Because I remember I said
Yes.
that was my second favorite, and then, because I said I wanted the Espejo version first, but then I said,
At the meeting, at the regularly scheduled meeting of the
Public Arts
subcommittee. Yeah,
Committee,
the
yes.
Public Arts, I got to remember that.
Yes.
Public Arts Committee, that was the preference.
Yes.
With the second one being, we called it the Espejo option.
Yes.
Which apparently is a subcategory of the.
Larry Warfield.
Green.
yes,
What we haven't seen, but that's,
it's fine with me.
but either one, again, we're indifferent, we just want
Yeah.
to move forward.
so, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
that's the walkway was the preferred option for the committee. It's the preferred option for the rec department, correct? Mm-hmm. And it puts the least amount of sculptures on the common. I'll advocate for the walkway version, which doesn't really have an option name, but,
We
You're
call,
referring to the town building walk? where we-
yeah,
yeah, it doesn't,
we can,
oh, all right, so it's not labeled on this one.
Right, yeah, no,
All
this is the one that JD sent us.
I think that, again, we're not going to make everyone happy. This here makes some people happy. It puts the least amount on the common, which is still not going to make everybody happy, but it lessens the impact to the common.
Isn't that a little close to the construction, though? Not as far away as 61 Center, but it's a little close to the construction, the one at the bottom.
It's across the street.
I said 61, I was told 61 Center was too close to the construction to move them there.
Oh,
No, that
No, no,
meant,
no.
that meant that the walking from 61 Center to the Common to see
Right.
the other was, you would be walking in front of.
There is parking at 61
Right.
Center.
I had, sorry, Jim, I just had a question for something that you said, that the walkway was, in the meeting that I was in with Brendan, the walkway was his preferred option, but I don't know if he had all the options in front of him at that point.
the two options that Brendan did not see were the Warfield Espejo option.
And that's the one that I'm debating.
Right. He had not seen that one.
So, and
But-
can we say that Brendan prefers
Well-
it if he has not seen?
well, of the ones he saw, that was the preferred.
Well, actually, after our meeting, after the Public Arts Committee meeting, our member from REC, Lindsay, took those options back to Brendan. So I have not spoken with Brendan, but she informed me that after reviewing those options, Brendan's preferred option was the walk.
Okay.
He also indicated that he would work with any of the options that you decide upon, but that was his preferred.
Okay.
And I do
Excuse
think,
me, Paul, are we going to shut down the sidewalk where the police station is going to be when this construction is going on? Is that sidewalk history? Is that what we're talking about here?
No.
It probably will be on some way, shape, or form.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Go ahead.
On the police station side of the street?
right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right, then let's just, okay, I'm gonna make a motion. I'm so sorry. Fair warning. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve a temporary move of the sculptures from their current location to a location as to be determined by this board and recreation that spans the area closest to the Center Bedford Street intersection and can go up to Center Street on both sides, depending on what seems most viable. So I'm basically merging both the options and saying that we can determine what works best with rec for overall placement.
And I think that, sorry, was that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay.
It's a sloppy one, but it's a motion.
Is that what you mean?
Huh?
Is that what you mean?
So
Some
what I'm saying is
Some variation of that.
taking that and that, the green one, Mike's and Larry Warfield's one.
Oh, and blending
And just
them.
saying whatever makes the most sense.
Okay.
In that general scape of the
Okay.
the geographical landscape.
Okay.
That way we have some latitude for placement, and I deemed it as temporary for the 2 years while the construction of the police station is underway.
I will second that.
Okay, can I just get a clarification?
Sure.
So that's kind of a hybrid between the town center walk and the Warfield Espaillo
Correct.
collaboration, I guess you could say.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask how we go about determining those locations? I know you said between the select board and recreation. Do you intend to come back to another meeting to make the final locations, or?
Sorry, can I?
It's a little bit open.
Well, it's his motion, so
I mean,
let him
so
go first.
my thought is that it's a collaborative thing where Brendan says these are probably the best locations for these, and we all look at the plan and go, yeah, and then we're off to the races. I don't know if that needs to come back to a meeting. I mean, if you all feel like it needs to be a vote, and it comes back, or it just happens in a, another meeting, or a quick gathering on the common, like, I'm open.
So my question is going to be is how many on the common and how many on the walk?
TBD.
That's to be announced.
TBD.
Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
I just wanted to make another point as to why I support that. One of the concerns that Brendan, our rec director, brought up was having them so close to Bedford and Cambridge streets brings the, little kiddos to the busy streets. Center Street is much quieter in that area and wouldn't have as big of a concern, and he supported that. So that's just another thing to note.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on it? You got something to say?
I was
You
going to
guys-
say, like, I still feel a little bit less definitive about how we're going to finalize this. So,
Okay.
I mean, saying that they're going to get together, a meeting of the minds is fine, but
May I make a
who makes the final decision? Someone has to make the final decision.
May I make
Okay,
a suggestion?
Then I'll amend my motion and say that it's a final decision by us after hearing from Brendan on the placements.
I think the problem is that we had so many options to choose from tonight, and and there were new ones coming at us, and it's really hard to nail
Why
that.
don't you just put it on one more meeting? You have one more meeting of the minds with Brendan based
Okay.
upon the walkway / common plan.
meeting, or can we just walk
What if you guys disagree on the final placement? Or what if there's too many on the common and not enough on the walk? I mean, I just don't want to be in a middle position on our end of things and trying to administer it, that's all.
That's fine. So the meeting will be for final placement.
Can I make a suggestion? However you make the final decision, I think it would be helpful if one or two members of this board could come to the site walk when we're there with Brendan and he's placing them.
Sure.
So I think that would help.
Absolutely.
If a couple of you were there.
we can schedule that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would someone like to make a motion
Nick, Nick's
to
got a
table this
motion
to
on
the next meeting?
Well, Nick's motion.
We just continue.
No, so my
your
motion still stands.
It still stands.
And the next meeting would be
Just to finalize.
to finalize all the
Okay.
locations. So I'm basically saying that, yes, this is the general area we're going to move them to, contingent upon that next meeting and discussing the final locations.
So we need a vote on that, right?
Well, that's all part
Mr.
of my
Segredo?
sloppy motion, but I can restate if we
We
need
need to vote.
I second it.
Yep.
You second it, right? Okay. We all done with discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Abstain. 3, 2, 0. Okay?
There's only 5 of you.
What?
3-2.
3-2.
3, 2. Oh, okay, I misunderstood. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Are you here for another thing?
Oh,
Well,
actually.
that's right, we're not done with them.
But,
Oh,
well,
Sarah.
Actually, you are, because the reason we were pushing forward with the painting of the electrical boxes, because there was a student at the high school who was looking for an internship. She got another job. So
Good for her.
there's no longer a rush, so we'd like to take a little bit more time and bring something more definitive to you. So we would like to just withdraw that for tonight, and we'll come back to you at a later date when we have all our ducks in a row.
Okay. Just postpone that.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We did citizens' time.
On to the good stuff.
What's that?
On to the good stuff.
Yeah. So I believe this is going to be Mr. Denizio, the budget approval.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have Town Treasurer, Mr. Giannino here to walk us through. The agenda did have the original agenda had police, fire, and emergency management, but one of the chiefs is on vacation and one is still recovering. So we did tell them we would move them to a different meeting. We still have plenty of budgets to talk about, as Mr. Giannino has 9 departments here for us to discuss. I did share with everybody, I tried to put a summary sheet that they were in order that we were going to review them. But the first one is the Treasurer's Department, which is Department 145, Treasurer Collector, and I don't want to steal any thunder and talk about everything. Leave Gary nothing, so I will pass it off.
Quite all right. I'm tired from speaking so much tonight. Good evening to the board. As John mentioned, tonight we have the Treasurer Collector's Budget, Department 145 before you. You'll see that there's approximately a 2.75% decrease in the budget. That's a result of, there will be a retirement coming in June, which is myself. And with that, and the salaries, we have a reduction of $75,000, which as we move down with a replacement for myself, we're anticipating another reduction in the staff. So in my tenure here, this will be the second reduction in this department. And it speaks to the increase in our lockbox, our online service that people are taking advantage of, and also the efficiencies of the members of the team. So the other part of this budget, you'll notice, is an increase in materials and supplies. That large increase says 136%. It's going from $22,000 to $52,000. And this has been in the works for a few years from the department, in that we are going to eliminate printing and sending the bills out. Presently, we buy the paper, it gets delivered here, so we pay for that. We use the printer down in the basement, which has lived past its useful life. When I first got here, I asked Jim Round what the useful life was, and he thought it was around 3 to 4 years. This is the 5th year, and it has shown wear and tear. To replace that machine would cost about $25,000, $30,000. We are going to, in this budget, it's our intention of hiring a group to print mail and add the postage, and that you see as a line item under the current request of $40,000. You'll notice that the folding and stuffing of bills of $5,000 has gone away in the current request. We've reduced some real estate tax bills and envelopes, reduced payroll checks and direct deposit advices, and we're a little conservative in that reduction. We think we'll get some more savings from that. We're also have initiated the beginning of the sending of payroll advices to people via email versus printing. So we're hoping the reduction in print. Next department we're going to work through is the fire department, the police department. We've done, I believe, most of the departments in this building as test cases. I've been in contact with Nicole Cossier at the schools, and just the other day she told me they're pretty close to getting, everybody has to have an email address of some type, and she's pretty close to that. So we're hoping to get the school on board the next month and a half. The rest of the budget, Melt, there's really no, just a slight increase, and that's basically the costs associated with some of these, the training. We have 2 people who are actively training to get their certification. A deputy treasurer collector has his certification in the treasurer side. There are conditions for this certification. I don't necessarily agree with them. They limit people to a 3-year when some, I think Anna is quite capable without that designation, but that's the way the Massachusetts Treasurer Collectors Association operates. I don't know if there's any other budget questions on the budget. We're requesting the total budget of $782,242, which represents a 2.77 decrease.
Mr. Chairman, may I just add that you'll notice when you look at the personnel page in the budget that there's a red number for a negative, and that's Mr. Giannino alluded to, that the headcount will be going down by 1, which is also on your summary page. So I just want to point that out.
Thank you. We'll start. Sarah, questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not really, I think you explained it pretty well. I did just want to ask for the reduction in staff.
Yes.
You see that as going forward, you not having to fill that role just due to the efficiencies in the staff in your office now?
Correct.
Got it. And then the 40,000 for the printing, mailing, and postage, so that is likely going to be a recurring thing year over year going forward?
That's correct, yes. And part of the, with the reduction of the staff, as we printed these bills, you had to have someone sat by the printer.
Doing that, yeah.
Yes, they sat
Got
by
it.
the printer. And the other thing we get by doing this is we're tailoring the bills. We're sending this company the file, and they're able to pick the different, we've identified the fields. Paul Schwartzman has been working with their designer. So we're going to have a different type of bill. It's be very similar to, but we think it's a little clearer and more concise. And this gives us the option anytime we want to add something to our bill or change something, we can do it through our own process versus using the restriction. Munis, as good as a program as it is, some of the times with forms, it's a little delicate, I'll put it that way. So this past year, every quarter that we've sent the tax bill, we've had to print a batch and go back and forth with Munis because certain numbers don't line up. So eliminate that.
Okay, great. Thank you. No other questions, but do just want to say thank you, Gary, for all your service to the town, not just in this role, but in all the roles you've held.
Thank you very
You will
much.
be missed.
Thank you.
Mike?
I had the same question about the staff reduction, and Gary answered it. Thank you, Gary.
Nick?
No questions. Thank you, Gary.
Jim?
No questions, just other than a comment on, I'm glad departments are looking at within the potential restructure reductions. This is a great example of it. And to echo what Sarah said, Gary, you've I don't think there's any part of town government you haven't been involved in. So thank you for all you've done for the town and for people over the years.
Thank you, it's been my pleasure.
Second.
Okay, Gary, I'm the only one left. I just want to say thanks. Thanks for everything you've done for the town of Burlington. I know this will be your last time doing this, but, maybe. Maybe.
I think it
Well,
will.
I think maybe, there might be a swap coming up later on, and someone might be over there, and someone, I don't know, I don't know. Just trying to throw it out there, Gary, that's all. Mr. Denizio, anything to add?
So Mr. Giannino will be back again before the end of his tenure to get all your accolades. But he's got 10 budgets here tonight, so he's not going anywhere.
We'll keep going.
Can we take them back then, Oliver, I think?
Next is the,
I don't know if you're going to vote on them all at the end or if you're going to vote as we go.
Just vote them at the end. No, we do-
We do the last 7.
I think we voted them all at the end last
Yeah, I
time, didn't we?
think so, yeah.
No, we did it separately?
They're all the same,
Oh, we
they're all
did
going to be the
separately
same.
because I had to abstain.
Yeah, we had some abstentions
Yeah.
last time.
Oh, okay, so we'll vote on this one now. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer collector budget for 2026.
Motion made second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next one is in Department 149. The next several are going to be in Department 149. And the first one we're going to talk about is Chapter 32, Employee Benefits. This is health insurance and the like. And in your backup, there was a spreadsheet from Mr. Giannino that outlined the costs of all the different categories and included some of the participation data for all those categories in different groups of employees. There's also a backup in there, a memo that lists a little bit of the details on each of those. So for this one particular, there's a memo, there's the summary sheet I attached, and there's also the spreadsheet for Mr. G.
Thank you.
Highlights.
Sir?
we've seen thank you, John, to the chair and to the board. We've seen some large increases in claims over the last 2 or 3 years. I think that's indicative of the RX costs that people talk about, and also claims within hospital stays or medical offices. It's not something that is different than I think every other plan is seeing. Luckily for us, or we've had a healthy insurance trust fund. I remember, I believe it was 5 years ago, I remember the town meeting member, Bruce Morey, asked us to, was concerned about the trust fund being too high. And we've worked over the last 5 years to bring that number down. We have a trust fund balance of a little over $8 million at this point. It's a reduction of probably 4 or 5 million from 5 years ago. The increases this year for premiums was 8%. That's lower than the market would other people are seeing. The year before, it was 4%. So we've had some modest increases. I anticipate next year with a similar increase. We have gotten a lot of input from the Insurance Advisory Committee, which is made up of different departments in the schools. So it's been a healthy discussion as we go through this. We've been aggressively trying to move people into HSA, the health savings account, because we think that saves them as they go through their career. Even if they left the town and moved someone else, that money they're saving could be used for different aspects. And we're seeing some increase in that. That's helpful. We've changed over this past year our advisor, and we're seeing some of the benefits of that already with our last year and our stop loss insurance policy, which any claim over $125,000, we get reimbursed after that. Unfortunately, we've had more claims of $125,000. Last year in the budget, I had it estimated a 7.5% increase. Well, with the help of our new advisor, USI, and some long discussions, that increase was moved down to 1%. So that was something that helped this budget along. I anticipate, as I said, because the insurance is on a calendar year, and we operate on a fiscal year, and we're dealing with fiscal year '26, I anticipated an increase in claims of 4% for the second half of this year, and a 8% increase in premiums again for participants. We also carry in here the retirees, and there is a breakdown which discusses how many retirees we have in the plan and how many active employees. The active employees, as we just remind the board, it's on a 70-30 split. The employees are paid 30%, the town pays 70%. The retirees are a little different, and some of them have been grandfathered in. In past years, there was a selectman who moved to the 70-30, but retirees were at 80 or 90%, so we're working through some of those. I remember the treasurer at the time being quite upset at that select board member, but we always try to move benefits close to what was in the commercial sector, and I think we were successful in that. So it was interesting to see the breakdown. We're moving, on average, the retirees are now at 80%, and that's been a move over the 5 years. The diabetes program, we saw an increase this year as we were putting the budget together. We called the company we deal with, Abacus, discussed that with them. They were having problems with some clients related to collections, so they started a reserve of 2 to 3 months. In discussions with them, our bills have gone down as we've gotten to the first quarter of calendar year '25 now, because we didn't think we should be having to cover some of the keeping our escrow balance so high. So we're hoping, in the budget, it says 250 for next year. We're hoping that's actually about 200,000 to equal where we are where we were in 2023. We have some great programs. The diabetes program is helpful for the people, and there's probably about a 30% compliance. 50% of the individuals who have diabetes have contacted Abacus. 30% of those people are compliant, and that will keep the costs down. We also have a RX from Canada that doesn't get much usage, and I'm not sure what will happen with the prices based on what's going on in our economy right now. So, but that's there. The flex spending and HRA costs have not increased much. The net result of all this is a increase in the budget of 7.79% from the previous year. The total budget is $18,502,812. Again, it is under, percentage-wise and number-wise, under what a lot of other municipalities in the commercial sector is seeing for increases.
Mr. Chairman, just to reiterate, all of our surrounding communities would be quite envious of the increases we've had, not just this year, which is our largest in a while, but over the last 5 years to be self-insured and managing the fund the way they do, and having the active advisory community is a great benefit to the town.
Fantastic, thank you. Any questions on this? No one shaking their head, no? Okay, I'll take a motion on this one.
So moved.
Second.
We'll move to second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Mr. Chairman, the next is in the same department, 149, it's OPEB, other post-employment benefits. I think everybody here knows what OPEB is. The town has had an OPEB funding schedule that was put together quite some years ago. We have followed that, which increases budget line by 9.3% each year. and we're going to continue to follow that as long as we can. There'll be another actuary done in the works
Correct.
that we'll be talking about at some point later in the summer or in the fall.
That should probably be out in August or so, so usually it's at the September town meeting. We've given them all the data they have. Siegel is working on that now, and they do look towards the June results also as to our valuation. As John talked about, this is a continuing plan to invest in the OPEB. We basically have about $19,500,000 in that fund right now. We still have a balance of, end of the year is $132 million unfunded. We're at about 14% funded. Putting the money in here is always a discussion when we go for our rating of our bonds. So this is one of the healthy things that the rating agents talk about, that we're contributing to the unfunded OPEB. We're also contributing to Middlesex County, which we'll continue to talk to. The money is all in, our funds are in the PRIT fund, which is operated by PRIM. The average for this calendar year, 2024, the return for Burlington was 9.08%, just slightly, from inception to now, the plan has returned 8%. And we can remember what happened 2 years ago. One year we had a 20% increase, and next year we dropped down to 9%. So PRIT, the managers are quite diversified in their funding, but look for continuity, not looking for the highest or the lowest.
Mr. Chairman, just to add, there's no requirement for us to be funding this. We're ahead of the game with that. There will be some requirement at some point to fund this, but it'll likely coincide when your pension fund is fully funded.
Okay, thank you. Any questions here? Motion?
Make a motion, we approve, is it the transfer to OPEB?
Yep.
Or make a motion, we approve the transfer to OPEB as presented.
Second.
Motion made second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500.
Mr. Chairman, I'll take the next few for expediency, because they don't technically fall under Mr. Giannino, but in the same department is 149 is unemployment. We are self-insured for unemployment, and we have funded $100,000 for, as long as I've been here. There's years where it's come in below, there's years where we've had to figure it out at the end of the year through transfers. But it is, we feel like it's a good number to continue to budget at, so it's a level funded from the year before.
Okay, thank you.
If I could just add to that, we have a company, UTMC, which works with HR and to go over the claims. We still have some fraud going on. We actively look to see if we're going to fight a person's claim or not. So it's a continuing process. It's just not a giving up the money as quick as
Okay.
as is.
Thank you. Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we approve the unemployment compensation as presented.
Second.
Motion made second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500. Mr. Denizio.
Mr. Chairman, the next is also in Department 149. This is the town insurance and workers' comp. So there's a long portion of that memo that's a couple pages long that has some details on what exactly makes up the town insurance and workers' comp. You can see that each line is in there. So this is part of it that is self-insured for some of it, and it also includes premium-based for the town's liability insurance. So we have had some pretty bad experience over the last few years with some flooding issues that have really made it hard for us to get a lot of competition when we go out to bid. We do go out to bid every year for this sort of thing. And this covers workers' comp for all employees, town and school, with the exception of both police and fire, because there's another statute that covers workers' comp for police and fire. It's called 111F, and those are budgeted in their department budgets. So you can see there's a kind of a big increase this year that we're expecting, but there's a breakdown of what we've spent so far this year, and it looks to be in line. Unfortunately, it's a couple $100,000, but in the whole budget, it's not, it doesn't blow the whole budget. So.
Thank you. Any questions? Nobody? Okay. Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve town insurance as presented.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, same department, 149, financial services. This is basically the town's audit and some other financial reviews if we so choose to do them. But the bulk of this is the town's required to do an annual audit. The town does an annual comprehensive financial report that was just done. That Mr. Tigas was lucky enough to go to the audit committee and hear all the exciting news about it. Our CPA firm, which since last time we voted this budget has changed ownership twice, we're in the last year of next year will be the last year of our contract with them. So it's likely that for when we're back here for FY27, we'll be asking for a number higher than this, but for this year, we're comfortable level funding it.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve financial services as presented.
Second.
Motion made second. All those in favor? Aye. Abstained? Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next is same department, 149, the Medicare budget. Although we do not pay Social Security for our employees' payroll, we are required to pay Medicare, which is 1.45% of the total salaries for the town. The salaries for in total go up about 5 to 5.5% a year over year, and because of that, we're asking to increase this budget by just under 5.5%.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this one? Gary, nothing? You're awful quiet right now. We're good. Okay, keep that way. We're good.
Chairman, I make a motion we approve Medicare as presented.
Second.
Wow. Motion made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstained, opposed, 500. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next one is a different department. It's in the back of your books, if you're looking in the book. It's Middlesex Retirement. This is Department 901. Included in your backup is a screenshot from the actuarial study that is done for the Middlesex Retirement System that shows you exactly what our payments are. It shows 2 years' worth of payments, and it includes potential discount if you make one payment. But I'll let Mr. Giannino talk about this one. There's also a memo included.
Thank you, John. This program is hope to be fully funded by 2036. Middlesex County Retirement System uses a discount rate of 7.15. As the town, we use for our OPEB or anything we look at, we use a slightly different discount rate of 7%, which is more conservative, but over the years, and as Paul would always tell me, we'd rather be under-promise and over-deliver as far as that's concerned. And the Middlesex County has continued to decrease theirs over the years, and is now at 7.15, which is a PERAC, which is the state agency, feels that is a good number for them. Fiscal year '26, as John mentioned, you can either pay a lump sum on July 1st, yes, on July 1st with a discount, which equals about 3%, 2.74%, or you can pay 50% of it on July 1st and 50% of January. We do the calculation out to see if it's worthwhile to pay in the lump sum. It got a little, last year when we were achieving rates of 5%, and it got pretty close to not making sense. I think it was around 30, 40,000. This year, it's probably closer to 130,000 we're saving, because rates for money market or CDs have increased a full percent, or I'd call it 100 basis points. So that's what we're recommending, is the a lump sum payment on July 1st in the amount of $15,210,846.
Thank you. Questions?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the Middlesex retirement budget as presented.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One more, it's Department 710, it's debt service. As you can see in the report that was shared, it's a one-pager that just basically lists what all the different existing debt payments are for this year, and then also includes what the projected for proposed projects would be for next year. And what we do there is we add in anything that we're going to have to pay for bands that we borrow, or adding in to try to pay from the operating budget pay off some bands and not have to borrow a certain amount of things. So it would include could include some principal and interest payments in both of those. The total for this year is just under 9.5 million, 9,449,631, which is an increase of 676,967, or 7.72%. This is about what we expected. As we talked about, we're going to be ramping up to the police station and Fox Hill borrowings kicking in. That technically doesn't include anything for either one of those projects, because we approved that $5 million at January town meeting to use out of free cash, so we won't have to pay in anything this year, which would mean we'd have a budget payment for next year. But those are going to ramp up, and we're going to go from having a budget, I think at our last capital or debt summit that we had, we were talking about at that time going from a budget of about 6.7 million to almost 18 million over a 10-year period. That didn't take into account a high school of several hundred million, or Shawsheen at the time. So that will all change, but as we do every year, we try to smooth out that increase so that we don't have big increases or stay flat for a couple of years and then have a big increase. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Nothing?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion.
Sorry. I have a-
Oh, you do, sorry.
So, John, as we start to ramp up those increases for the police station and Fox Hill, do you have a sense of, I'm sure you've sort of mapped this out, I don't know, vaguely, but like how much percentage-wise it's going to increase next year, the year after?
Yeah, it'll be double that once the high school and Fox Hill get fully baked in, but we will.
Police station, not high school, no, right?
What?
You said high school, you mean police station?
I'm sorry, the PD.
It's all mistakes. Okay, so I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? I was stuck.
So it will be double that increase when those first kick in. Even
Meaning?
though we'll short-term borrow, so we'll have an increase of higher than that next year, maybe 12, 13%, and then we'll be looking at something in the 60% range the following year.
Got it.
That then we'll start to level off once we've permanently borrowed for both the PD and the Fox Hill.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve debt service as presented.
Second.
Motion made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Fantastic.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Gary, thank you.
Good work. Real solid.
Don really did it also.
All right. Well, start with the budget.
Awesome. Thank you.
We can move on to government review.
We can.
Mr. Sagarino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think at our last meeting, the board had generally sort of liked the ad, and we were going to make an update to the mission statement and then get something voted so we can move forward, start advertising in the community to recruit some members for this. I think we handed out a last second version from our English grammar specialist,
Yep.
Sarah. So I think you all have that in front of you, and hope to give that a quick read-through, and hopefully this is something we can get voted on and move forward, and take the next steps on the process to get the government review committee going.
Can I just-
Do you want to start?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just talk about it. I pretty much just cleaned up what I had already done. Some of the wording was a little bit redundant, so I tried to take the redundancies out. The only things I really added was the committee portion, where it says the committee will consist of, and I'm not clear on what we want, but it says 7 to 9 members of the Burlington community, including 1 representative from the select board. I know that's been kind of debated on whether we want to make that more specific. I also said the committee will meet twice a month for a period of 12 to 18 months or until the mission of the committee is complete. That's really the only thing I added. Everything else is pretty much just cleaned up from the last one. But, so that's not, that doesn't have to stay there, but I put it there for discussion.
Okay. So does anybody have any comments on that? We'll start with Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I love the, actually leaving the composition of the committee open like that. This is, I couldn't think of another department that I wanted to, that was required to be on there. So I like having it open. We can discuss it, one select board member, and we have the flexibility to bring on who we think would be an asset to the committee. So I think this all looks great. I'm excited for this to start and get going, so I have no issue with the ad, looks great, and the whole background explanation, no issues.
Okay.
I'm good.
Nick?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. My only question, and I wish I had thought of it the last 4 times we talked about this, is, I'm sorry, Paul. And look, the answer is probably no. So it's probably why I haven't been so worried about it. Is should we at all lay out the function of the Collins Center in this, or can that just be conversational when we kick this off? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Nick, I think we want to, they're just to assist with the process and help the town through the decision-making process. They're not going to force any decisions upon us. So they're here in assist role only with their knowledge and expertise from working with other communities and, probably some databases of information. But they're 100% in an assist role, and they, ultimately the committee will have the full discretion on what the final recommendations are. And they'll be advising.
Okay, great. Otherwise, I agree. I think this looks great. I'm super excited. I mean, this was being talked about before on the board. We talked about it for the last 6 years, and here we are, right, with an opportunity to bring this forward. I think it's going to be a very good endeavor. I'm looking forward to it. So, but nothing else. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad that we're here also. It's been a long time. And if I ever need anything proofread or corrected, I know who I'm reaching out to. So, no, Sarah, thank you for all that you've done on this. But no, I think this looks great.
Sarah, I'd like to say the same thing, but if you ever read what I was writing, you'd be like, just come over and tell me what you want, because I can't even forget this. This, forget about it. But thank you. This
Well
looks
done.
great. This looks great.
All 10 fingers.
I do. I don't know how to do that stuff. Anyway, anything else to add to this, or we want to,
I had one question on the ad specifically. I don't know if we wanted to put a date that we're taking applications up until, or if that can just be added later. We don't have to,
Well, like I say, it's just a question of,
when we're putting it out there.
I mean, maybe we put it out there, maybe we don't get a strong response, maybe we do get a strong response. Maybe you're missing some components that you think you need to have on the committee in terms of folks' backgrounds. So.
Maybe leave
we
it
may
open
not
for
want-
now?
Yeah, we may want to just leave it open
Okay.
for now. And also put a lot of pressure on the board to review those committee members, so we may need a little time on that. So either way would be fine, but I think leaving it open may be best for right now.
Okay, sounds good. That's all.
okay, that's it. Anybody like to make a motion on this? It's an approval.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make, well, first off, is it okay if we take both together, or
Yeah, we can take both together, right?
okay with that?
Yeah, whatever the pleasure of the board.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we approve both our collective mission statement and charge for the Government Review Committee, as well as the advertisement.
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500.
Good work on this, you guys. And Cal.
Okay. Moving along, appointment, Town Administrator. Mike, anything to say?
I think we spoke at the end of the meeting that we had a succession plan in place, and I think we don't have to look that far for probably the best person for the job, in my opinion. He's filled in for Paul when Paul was out, and he is, been involved with pretty much everything we were doing, and he could walk in on day one and contribute and continue the great work that our town administrator has done. So I see no reason that it's kind of a no-brainer for me that Mr. Denizio should be our next town administrator. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I second that, and I appreciate, John, you updating your resume and sharing it with us, and so that the community can see, they're not in here every day and seeing what you do for us, but they can see, at least on paper, you're for sure qualified, well-qualified, overqualified, to take the reins. And I think just, being as transparent as possible with the process and what John has done, and I've communicated to people, you've already stepped up to the role several times, proven yourself, and, we're getting people reaching out to us, leaders in the community, saying, please have John step up, or
Don't lose
encourage
him.
John to step up, please. So, you're well-respected, not just in Burlington, but beyond, and well-suited for this job, and we would be very lucky to have you step up to the town administrator role.
Thank you. Nick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I echo the sentiments of both Sarah and Mike. I won't make John blush any further than is necessary. I hope you know how much we appreciate you and everything that you do for us in this community. I think meetings like tonight are testament to why the way that we plan for succession and growth is so important, right? Like, we have such strength in our directors, right? That they can come in here and they provide us with the backup. They provide us with clear information and understanding, so that we're not digging through. It looks like a lot. It's a big binder, but it's very clear, And I think that it's that level of attention and focus that allows us to do our jobs, and it's wildly appreciated. I think that I wholly endorse and support you for our next town administrator, and I very much look forward to the search for your replacement. As we look to maintain that level of succession planning and strength in the leadership. Here in Town Hall. So, thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
He's all right. I actually had a resident ask me, why aren't we doing an outside search? I said, why? I said, we have the best candidate. He knows this town inside and out. He's stepped up to the plate numerous times. Why would we waste our time and money on something when we have the best possible solution with us? So absolutely, I agree with everything everybody else says, but you have my full support, and I can't say enough. So I'll let you say the rest.
Oh, wait. Yes, Michael?
One thing I did want to add is, this is a kind of a moment of transition for Burlington. We've got a lot of retirements, as everyone's seen in a lot of departments, and we're so lucky to have JD here just to step right in. Again, he knows everybody, he knows all the departments, he knows the strengths and weaknesses, he knows, he knows our pain points, he knows what we do well, and with with all the changes in personnel, it's nice to have at least stability here and make it's kind of a no-brainer move to slide John right up.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to add that. I forgot to mention that.
Let's see, what could I add? I couldn't be any happier. It's like a movie. I got one side of me, I'm over here crying because he's leaving. On the other side, I'm over here happy because we got one of the best in the world, and we're losing the best. I mean, it's ridiculous how life works sometimes, but, you know, naturally, we wish him all the best and what he's got to go on to now, and we're going to wish you all the best coming in. So I just can't, what do I say? Love both you guys. It's just fantastic. So at that point, we need approval. No.
I'll make a motion, we appoint John Denizio to the position of Town Administrator, subject to contract negotiations for the position.
Second.
Whoa.
Wow.
Motion made and seconded 3 times. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 500. Would you like to add anything to that?
No, I mean, everybody, you guys know how I feel about John, and you can't get much better proof of his performance level. I mean, I was out for about 3 months with my COVID episode, and the town didn't miss a beat. Some folks would say the town ran better when I was out. But like I say, when you're constantly meeting with your assistant and he comes up with better ideas than you have, then you know it's time to move on. So I'm absolutely thrilled for John, and I know that the town will be served well for the next 10 years or so.
Imagine if we could say that
Maybe
about the
not quite
police
that
station.
Pardon me?
Imagine if we could say that about the police station, because Moose is in charge right now. We're in trouble.
The only thing I would suggest, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can the board designate someone to work with myself and Lisa Mead to sit down with John on a contract, and we could, you just designate one of the board members to do that, and then we will bring those negotiations to the board in executive session so that the rest of the board can have feedback on that.
We could absolutely do that. I just think that all those acclimates just put the price up a little bit more, you know, because he's so good. But yes, we can do that.
You want someone
Okay.
now, Paul?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you want someone now.
He needs someone.
Oh, you want it now? I have a wicked cramp. I'm killing me over here. He's laughing.
I mean, if you need to give him a walk, I mean, put some pressure on if you have to.
We just need one volunteer to
Okay.
work through the process with us, and then again,
I'd be more than
the whole
happy to,
board can chime in and
unless someone else wants to.
You want to do it?
I would do it.
That's fine.
I would love to do it. I would love to, yes. Everyone okay with that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
I'll go JD. Go ahead.
Did I say something?
Whatever you want to do. You want to be like Paul and just not say a word?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say thank you for the compliments and kind words. They're only possible because of all the staff and the team we have around here. So those words were meant for everybody. I'm truly humbled and excited for this opportunity. It's obviously bittersweet, colleague. The last 6 years have been some of the best of my career. Working here, Burlington truly has become a second home to me. I mean, I know you know I'm from Woburn because I tell you that all the time. But really, I have grown to love Burlington. I've been around it for 50 years. Obviously, I've got some big shoes to fill over there. Looking forward to continuing on the great work and hopefully building on that foundation that's already there. I'm honored by the support of the board, eager to get started and planning a transition, a smooth transition. And I can't promise to be perfect, but I can promise it won't be for lack of effort. I will certainly promise to work tirelessly for this community to keep it the best around. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
I do. I feel like a wedding.
Yes, sir.
if I may, this is a great time in John's life because John is now into the world of grandparenthood. So congratulations on that, John, and trust me, there's nothing like it. But just wanted to make sure
All good
people
things.
knew you're now new granddad.
Yep.
And probably 8 days and 1,200 pictures, I'm hearing.
Okay, let's go over subcommittees. We'll start with Sarah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For Council on Aging, they're having their annual senior prom on Thursday, April 3rd at Burlington Marriott. This is their biggest event of the year. Tickets are $25 and are available at the COA. Board of Health, I mentioned this before, but they're having their community health fair at BHS on Saturday, April 26th. They are still looking for exhibitors. If you're a local health conscious business or organization, you can reach out to the Board of Health. And Brian just left, but I have a DPW update. For DPW, I actually don't have an update, but I did check in with him, with Brian White, the DPW director, and he said he should have some updates soon on the work that's going to be going on Cambridge Street, as well as there's a new traffic light going in at Mountain Road, so there's some movement there, but no hard and fast, true updates, and that's all.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Want to give an update from the Police Station Building Committee. Our last meeting, we got some awesome new renderings of what the outside of the police station potentially could look like. And I think we got 5 or 6 drawings. I think John's going to put them up for everyone. And the new station falls under the what? The town center zoning overlay. So it had to meet certain characteristics to keep it within the feel of our town center. And a lot of the criticism that they had initially was it was very plain and that it just looked like a big white swath. So they added some color, as you'll see from options 3 through 5A, and brick to kind of give it some highlights. And I especially like how that came out, especially like 5 and 5A, which seemed to be the consensus of the building committee. And Chief Brown said also the consensus of the force. We're just asking everyone, and those last 2 have been very well received. There was a kind of a debate about shutters, and people said that they didn't really like them on municipal buildings. So they're really don't serve any function. They're just decorative. And what I like about 5 and 5A is they have the higher entrance and for the 2-story training room there and a higher ceiling there. But it's going to be something that the Police Station Building Committee will be discussing at our next meeting to try and narrow down a recommendation to come back to our board, and our board will be the one that makes the final decision on which one we're going to go with. So if you guys want to take a good look at those, I know John sent them around, and we'll also be discussing it at our next meeting if you guys want to attend that. But again, ultimately, the decision will be the select boards on which way we go. So definitely take a look. And if you guys have any input or anything you want to see added, you can reach out to me or Jimmy, and we can get to the architect. If there's something you want, any suggestions, we'll be happy to pass those along if you guys have it, or if you can pass them along to the chief or whatever you want. But pretty cool. I think it was exciting to kind of get some good renderings and see these, and really got me excited for the summer of 2027, so we'll see. That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Can I just ask a question on the
Yes.
police station?
Yeah.
Has the demo started on Vinebrook yet? Is anybody?
They were in the process of finishing up the decommissioning part of it to make it not a water plant, take the chemicals out, things of that nature, and then they're ready to get rolling pretty shortly.
Yeah, hopefully next Monday they'll be there. That was kind of what we put as the latest they would be able to get in. And if they can get in earlier than that, they're
Okay, thank you.
John?
So I just wanted to add, so each of the iterations came about due to some sort of design improvement. So Mike was talking about the higher front entrance look there. That was to get, that on the leftmost side, that was to maximize the area of the training room and get it to be the right fit in size. Because if you look, starting at the left of the building, all the way to the right edge of the main entrance, both those rooms, as soon as you walk in, the lobby and the training room are 2 floors. So in the other designs, there was sort of a waste of windows that were going to be up there to bring in light, but now they're going to be a maintenance issue with windows being, 20, 15 feet off the ground, and then having lines for when you needed to black out the training room. So each of the iterations has some sort of design improvement, and that's why it doesn't shock me that 5A was everybody's favorite, because that was after taking the input from the team over there. So I just wanted to add that.
Great, thank you. Nick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The designs look great, and I won't further comment because it's not on the agenda, so I don't want to cross it.
Jimmy?
I don't have stuff. I thought you had stuff. You're not getting rid of that easy. No, I will be quick, though.
You won't.
I will. You keep interrupting me. It's going to take a lot longer. So ISAC is working really hard on cybersecurity improvements. They are emailed fast and furious, and I'm sure that there'll be some updates coming soon out of them. I'm going to start making just two general announcements. We talk a lot about economic development and like what Melissa's doing as a part of those efforts, both large and small scale, from the Pocket Park all the way to all the recent zoning that was just approved at town meeting. But I think it's important, should a resident watch this meeting and see it, I think it's important to remember that, we need to frequent medium and small businesses in the community. It's incumbent upon residents to be a part of, that economic life cycle. And, given all the shifts that we've had in the way that office space is operating, and the way that people who work in office space are infrequently coming into said office space, I think the residents got to kind of pick up the slack a little bit and get out there and, be a part of, that life cycle. And then, as we heard at the wine tasting for people helping people, they may be experiencing shortages heading into 2025 and 26. I just encourage folks, where you can now, support each other in the community. Everything, makes a difference and goes a long way. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of subcommittees. One, just a quick one about the police station is all the mechanicals are enclosed in the attic. You won't see anything outside. So that was another good improvement. I attended the White Ribbon Day at Leahy Clinic last Thursday. That's awareness of domestic violence and intimate partner violence. Everyone took a pledge to step in if needed and not allow it happen. We had our audit meeting last Thursday, I believe. Yeah, Thursday. And we were at the highest level of assurance. We got very, very positive information from our auditor. Basically, we're doing everything right. Still maintaining our excellence in financial reporting. There's not much more we could do as far as how the town is run. So kudos to the financial team for keeping us in that position. The last one, fire department, January, 459 runs, February 404 runs, and over the course of that time, 3 building fires they were able to knock down without injuries.
Fantastic. All righty. Thank you. Mr. Sagarino, any report?
I have nothing this evening, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
So at that point, I would like to take a motion to,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
motion made and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500. Good night, Burlington.